Hey, it's Jo here, Festival Director celebrating sexuality. And hello and welcome. And thanks for joining me live. And if you're watching this on the replay, welcome also. So today we're going to be talking to Myola Woods, who we're very blessed to be having joining us again this November. And so we're going to be talking to her today about the workshops that she'll be presenting with Mikaeli, who couldn't join us. I believe she's sunning herself in Fiji. So we're, looking out into the Melbourne weather today. I wish I was in Fiji with you, Mikaeli. So maybe she's watching. If you are watching, give us a thumbs up. Let us know that you can hear us okay. And, let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to see that as well. So before I introduce Myola, I just want to talk about a couple of things. Oh yeah, because it's 3 months, 3 months to go until we kick off again for this year. And I'm very excited about that. There's only 200 tickets in total for sale. Over half of those have been sold already. So I'm very excited and pleased to let you know about that. So basically why we only have 200 people on site. So one of the ways that describes celebrating sexuality is that it's a retreat with a festival atmosphere. I really love festivals. It's something that, I join in on a regular basis and help to build at other festivals as well and contribute to those. But one of the things I know too, that if you attend a workshop at some festivals, that you're packed into a tent or a room or something, and maybe it's more you just get some information. But so this is why I keep this at 200 people, and at any time we have at least 4 workshops going on, is so that when you attend, you get much more of a valued experience, and it allows the presenters to interact much more with the group, and also so that you come out with some things that that are important for you to learn about. So it is still a group setting, but that's the sort of thing that the environment that can help us to learn, because we get to hear what other people feel, what their experiences are as well. So that's to let you know why we call it a retreat with a festival atmosphere. So the festival atmosphere is things like, we have a market sort of area and an area where you can get food and coffee and kind of hang out and chat. There's also some DJs playing in the evening. We have some performances, including comedy performance, and this year we'll have some other sorts of surprise performances going on, which I'm excited to be announcing soon. And it's just generally in that way that you get to, also have a little bit of time to hang out and chat to like-minded people who feel a similar way in terms of that sex is normal, sex is something that we want to enjoy, and we want to learn more about how to bring more intimacy, more connection into our lives. So always a fantastic group of people, I have to say. So, so that hopefully gives you a bit more of an idea. If you've got any questions at all today, put them in the comments below and we'll get to those. And if they come in after, so on the replay, if you post some questions, we'll come to those as well. So what I wanted to bring to you today, so today was really what it's about is bringing you these interviews, is about allowing people an opportunity to get a glimpse into what happens on the weekend. One of the most common questions is that what actually happens at the festival, and the workshops are a main focus of the festival, and it's so that makes sense that we bring the presenters on to for you to meet and hear a little bit about what they're going to be bringing, hear a little bit about what they are doing outside of the festival as well. And yeah, and as I say, just to ask them some questions as well. So I'd just like to bring up on the screen, we'll bring up Myola now. So here she is. Hi, Myola.
Hello, Joe. How are you? Thanks
I'm
for
very
having
well. Thanks for waiting while I give the introduction.
I love the introduction, and I can't wait to see these, surprise acts and surprise comedy. Their acts are all phenomenal, always great.
Yeah, oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, it's something for me that, having, so a few years back where I started having a comedy performance, something along those lines, because I feel like that it gives another shift of energy, and it gives people, and a way to sort of shake things out. I mean, myself, I just, I love comedy performances anyway. And so, I just feel like that's a way for everyone to kind of come together in the evening and just have a laugh, basically.
Yeah, and I think it takes away some of that seriousness that we have around sex and sexuality, and we can learn with laughter and with fun. And it doesn't. Yeah, I think we tend to think it needs to be very serious and very, very arguing, very on the ball. But I think that bringing some comedy, bringing some other things, allows more space and allows more of a banquet of opportunities.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I'm kind of the thing, if you don't have a laugh, then there's, you're in trouble. Basically, it's got to be fun. It's got to be funny. So I'll just I'm going to, because I would like to say I've memorized your bio, but I'm going to read your bio here. So we're like 20 presenters, and I love you all, but I can't keep it all in my head. So as I said, Myola's actually going to be presenting with Michaeli, who couldn't join us today, but I'll include her in the what I read out as well. But I mean, I'll say they're both highly skilled somatic sex educators who simultaneously hold the delight and wonderment of life and sex with the deeply serious matter of bringing more embodiment to the planet. Having studied years of transformational spirituality and sexuality alongside working in vocational training, they now blend these skills, and they'll take you on a journey into the depths in a safe, genuine, and insightful manner. Myola has traversed many areas in her life, but the thread that carries through is education. Her ability to know intuitively the next right question to ask to support someone in unfurling themselves is exquisite. Michaeli's core belief in the beauty of all people has seen her advocating for and working closely with all types of people in the health, community, and education fields. Both are inspiring leaders whose honouring of diversity and the promotion of embodied choices are aspects close to their hearts. So the workshops that they'll be presenting this year are Vulva Magic and Communication for Lovers. And before I ask you to talk about that, Myola, I just want to ask you about, what does honouring of diversity and promotion of embodied choices mean for you?
So honouring of diversity is everyone, that we all get to explore our sexuality, our sensuality, no matter who we are. I think we live in a world that is very narrow in our view of how we're supposed to look, how we're supposed to dress, how we're supposed to speak, how we're supposed to be. And so for me, one of the things I like to bring is that I live in a body that's bigger than, and I, have 4 children. And so I have a diverse range of skills to bring, and hopefully, shift that notion that we can all, explore our sexuality.
Yeah, great, thank you. And I think that's something that I've seen a real shift as well in the education around sexuality too, and the workshops and so on, is that they're become more inclusive. And I think that there's a lot of that from my perspective to do also with the education for the educators, as well as what people want. People want to be seen as they present, and as they present in that moment, not necessarily and not necessarily how other people see them as presenting. It's just they want want to be accepted for however, and they turn up on the day.
Yes, yes. And I think that when we can allow ourselves to show up the way that we are in this moment, then that expands and gives permission for other people to do that. It's a, you know, expanded well. Yeah.
And I noticed that happens at the festival too, because, you know, some people are more comfortable when they get there. They've done other workshops or other work, and, you know, but we do have increasingly every year people who have never done anything like this before.
Oh, I think it's, you know, it's one of those swords, isn't it? The will I go, will I won't go, I want to investigate, I want to explore, but will I be okay, and will I find friends, will people laugh at me, will I just rock in the corner, and until you get there, you don't know those answers, and until you've explored some of the areas, it's hard to know those answers. And sometimes for me, it's been going with that feeling, that feeling in my belly, in my core, that, you know, the pull to go has been stronger than the pull to stay, and have the risk.
Yeah, yeah, and it is, you know, we do recognise. I mean, people are coming into the space to explore, you know, topics that are, you know, potentially very, you know, intimate and potentially, you know, very difficult at times. And also because, you know, we live in a world where a lot of those, you know, those parts of ourselves have to remain hidden. And, you know, some of the sorts of supports we have, I mean, aside from, I mean, all the presenters are also participating in the workshops, they're not teaching. We also have an emotional support team as well, who consist of, this year, we've got 6 qualified counsellors and then multiple emotional support people. And they're one of the things I hear, you know, every year is that people, I mean, they don't use them as much as they thought they might, basically because the feeling is that, you know, you're there, and really, so coming from what people actually say is they feel there's someone there to catch them if they need it. But, you know, because it is such a supportive environment and people are all there really for the same, you know, everyone's got a different intention and a different goal to some degree, but we're all there because we want to learn more.
Yes, and there is always more to learn, or more to expand on, or more to be curious about. And there is, you know, the festival is set up beautifully in that there is that support to catch people while they're there, and then, you know, afterwards, the festival has set up, you know, strategies for support afterwards as well. So for me, it's a very safe environment to go into, knowing that there are the supports in case something happens.
Yeah, definitely. So where I'm thinking now, could you please tell us a bit about your workshops on the weekend? So, I mean, we've got an amazing title there, Vulva Magic. Let's start with that one.
Let's start with the vulva. Okay, well, you know, McKay and I love to teach this workshop because it just brings the sacredness of the vulva to, and how to connect with our partners, or how to connect with the vulva. Like, sometimes I just think that often we don't know enough about it, or that it has become a little bit, not scary, it's not the right word, but a little bit, oh geez, a bit of angst of, you know, how do I approach, how do I not approach, what is appropriate, what is not appropriate, what's language to use, what. And so we take, you know, we peel back those layers and come back to, you know, the sacredness, and, you know, teaching, you know, exactly, you know, what anatomy is there, because, you know, often when we know something, it's easier to approach than it is when we're going in blind. And there's some parts that are, you know, hidden by other parts. So, and really, we've never been taught about anatomy, or particularly the hidden anatomy. So we take our time exploring that, and then exploring how to connect in different ways. And, you know, we'll be teaching a few little techniques and a few, you know, ways that might enhance how to stroke and how to play and how to, you know, arouse, and then how to, you know, bring down. So talking about, and in the way of doing that, we will be doing techniques that allow us to embody them. So we're a lot about, you know, not only the theory and the practice, but bringing it into the body, and how does that really work in the world? So how are you going to be? How can you replicate this when we're not there?
Yeah, cool. And so what's the sort of thing? So I mean, like you sort of touched on, we learn a little bit of anatomy and physiology in school, and that's where a lot of us have learnt, you know, and maybe from the internet and that kind of a thing. What's different about approaching this being in a workshop rather than just reading about it maybe on the internet?
Well, I don't want to have a total spoiler alert, but you'll probably get to make something.
Okay.
And so you'll probably have a felt sense experience of what the different parts are, particularly in a vulva. You know, I like to think of us more alike than not alike. So we have, you know, so vulvas have, I say we because I have one, so have, you know, all sorts of erectile tissue. And often people don't know that that is the part that engorges, and that is the part that enhances arousal, and that is the part that opens. And so we really want to encourage those places to be nurtured and played with and touched, so that we have that level of arousal. We have choice around arousal. For me, arousal is about choice. It's about me knowing what I can do and don't want to do, and having the choice to do it. So we will go to a lot around choice and exploring the underneath of the erectile tissue. And
cool. Okay, no, that sounds great. And so people are, so it is more about what's actually, well, I don't say more about, there is also about what's going on around that interaction as well. It's not, you know, we've got the vulva, but then it's like what's actually happening around that. So you mentioned choice, and so that's kind of talking about boundaries and what people feel comfortable with, and that sort of side of things as well.
Yes, so we like to move from, you know, not just speaking about the vulva, but the whole being, and how to connect, you know, with the vulva and with the whole being, so that there's more of that deep connection and more of that intimacy and more of that, you know, we're mammals, and ultimately that is what we're wanting, is that connection. So in this instance, we're using, you know, aspects of the vulva to deepen that, and how to, you know, and how to really connect with that being on that level, in that sacredness. And so then therefore asking, you know, we'll be giving tips on how to ask for, you know, permission and boundaries and curiosities, and how to ask those questions and get feedback without it feeling awkward, because often we don't give feedback because we don't want to tell someone and it's not very good. But the way that we will, you know, give you some hints on how to ask questions and how to get feedback is nobody feels uncomfortable.
Yeah, cool. Oh, that sounds good. And with your other workshop that you're presenting as well, so communication for lovers, I'd like to hear a little bit about that as well, please.
Yeah, so communication for lovers. So we've developed you know, techniques on how to stay with communication when things become uncomfortable, when we are having those difficult moments, because we can all be, you know, happy-go-lucky, wonderful beings when things are smooth and everything's going our own way, and then we have a little glitch or we have something and we don't know often. I mean, because these are subjects. I mean, I suppose the part I love about your festival, or the festival, is that you talk about these subjects that we don't learn. We don't learn these in school. We don't learn these unless we go looking for them. We don't learn them. And communications and relationships is particularly one of them. So how do we stay connected with our partner and still have those uncomfortable conversations? How do we not run away? How do we, and examining the behaviours and recognize. So we'll give some exercises so that there's a felt sense experience, because this is a practice environment. So we set up the room or the workshop space so that we can get to practice these different kinds of styles and what you would say and how to, so that you actually can practice them in real time. And so when you go out in the world, it's a little bit easier.
And so what sort of are the main, what's a couple of things that people, just to give them a taste of the kinds of exercises that they might be doing?
Okay, so we often with this workshop, there is a lot of subtle activity going on, and we go into those places that maybe are not spoken and look at how to move into when we're feeling something energetically, and so things may not have been said, but what is happening in my body and what is happening energetically to me, and how can I express that without disconnection, without running away, and without blame, and how can I move into a space from uncomfortableness and into love. So we will take you through a couple of different practices on how to do that so that you can have that experience and know it. I mean, people have amazing aha moments in this workshop, and often they're not working with their partners, they're working with people they've never known. So it's not about, because this workshop is not about our partners or particularly, it's about us and how we communicate in the world and how what we send off, and how our normal behaviors and our normal habits. And people have a lot of aha moments on, wow, I thought that I was good at communication, but I've really been blaming them for this, and I'm now going to go and look at that differently.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, it doesn't matter how long you're in a relationship for. It's something I mean, it's so true. Like, I just think about what my own education was like and what people often tell me, and we, you know, we're sort of told communication is so important, you know, and you hear that, and it's often, you know, there's a lot of articles around it, keep the communication open. But if you don't have a chance to practice that, you know, and okay, it's not in the real life in the sense of like you're in the moment, but a chance to practice that, you know, is, well, you know, I mean, it's like public speaking, isn't it? That's what they say, you know, the more you do it, the better you get at it. And, you know, this is can be a starting point for some people, but it's also an opportunity where for those people who already have a fairly good level of communication or a good relationship, to learn how to take that a little bit deeper to create, you know, more intimacy perhaps.
Oh, definitely. There's and the parts of, you know, the practicing. I mean, we wouldn't go and, you know, hopefully we don't send people out to drive in on a 6-lane traffic. We start somewhere, you know, safe, and we start somewhere, you know, simple. And so that's the sort of, we bring that in so that it's safe, then it's a way that, and it's because we're really looking at what happens on a core, on a deep level. Because we know often, and lots of us have good communication skills until we, you know, get into arousal, or we get into a relationship, or we get triggered. And so they're the parts that we will be looking at, is, you know, how to still stay connected when you're having something, when something's really activated.
And what if you know, a person who's single comes along? Do they need to be in a relationship, or do they need to be in a relationship just with one person?
No, I don't know. I would imagine lots of single people attend. I mean, we do partner workshop, we do partner activities, but
yeah,
they're we, you know, divinely, randomly partner people up, usually unless they bring their own partner.
Yeah.
This exercise is just is about, it's certainly communication for lovers, but it's all of our lovers, and all of and loving ourselves and knowing ourselves more deeply so we can have those better conversations. And then, you know, when we develop our communication skills, it's not only then for our lovers, our communication skills get better in our workplaces, in our everywhere.
And that's interesting you say that, because I actually have feedback from people who, you know, we have a lot of people coming back every year. And this year we've got, there's at least 40 people who are, you know, not crew, not presenters, who are already coming back from, you know, from previous years. And what people talk to me about is that, I mean, every year they uncover something new about themselves, but also that they're using the information that they use in their workplace. You know, how they communicate with people in terms of their boundaries, their yes, their no.
Yeah.
You know, because I think there's that emotional trigger that we can get in any situation. It's sort of not really like we have multiple emotional triggers exactly. They're really often, people talk about, the thing of being seen, that people, that then though, that thing of their yes and their no, taking on too much at work, taking on too much in a relationship, not knowing what the quality things to take on are and what the things to let go. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting that you bring that up, because I think that's one of the things for me too, as well, is that how, sexuality isn't just about having sex.
No, and I think we've got this narrow view, and then once we expand and open the door, we realise that there's a smorgasbord, and it affects all of our life. We're not segmented. What happens in one part happens in another, and what we restrict in one part restricts in another. Like we're not segmented. We're a whole being. So yes, and having the space to practice. I mean, it's not very often. I mean, and I, kind of work and live in this world, and it's not very often that we actually get places to practice. Places where, if you were in a band, you might get together and have, band practice, or,
This one time at sex camp.
Right, I'm sure it's been said.
Indeed. And look, as you said, you've been, I think, is this your third or fourth year? Third. And is there anything in particular you're looking forward to this year?
Oh, I'm always looking forward to the community and seeing people that I haven't seen for a long time, and, sharing hugs and intimacy and having conversations and, talking to people like I saw them yesterday, but it has probably been 12 months. So I think for me, the community and the love and that openness is, what I'm looking forward to. And, being able to speak about sex and like it's normal.
Yeah. Just got to remember when you leave and you go into the supermarket that, the checkout person's probably not on the same wavelength. And if you're thinking about someone who was not sure if it was for them or was sitting on the fence, what would you say to them, or what sort of thing would you say to that person?
Well, I would say that the festival is set up that it is that you can participate at any level and all levels that you want to, and there is no need to feel that there would be pressure, and that it is a great place to come and actually practice and invest in yourself, in your sexuality education, in your erotic education, and spend the weekend enjoying yourself and the retreat as well.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. And of course, if people do have questions, so on the website we've got some frequently asked questions. There's all the presenters' information is on there as well. I've just got going across the screen Myola's Instagram and website. So if you want to look more into her work as well, and if you have questions, you can email me as well. I'm happy to answer any questions that way, and and also I encourage you to go on and check out the presenters. So if you go to the main page of the website, you'll be able to see there's a button there where you can click on 2018 festivals. So as I said, the tickets are on sale, and there's limited numbers. So we've got over half the tickets are sold, and so we're still 3 months out. So we expect those to sell out basically as it's going now. And like I said, have a look on the website, connect with Myola as well if that's what you would like to do. And Myola, I just would like to thank you so much for joining us today. Really been great having a chat with you and hearing more about your views and insights as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'll see you in November.
Yay. See you in November. Bye now.